defining moment early in my life was starting my own business as a chartered accountant in practice, and how I've got to make two ends meet. That's principally the defining moment. I know I have to struggle, and I did not expect help from any bank. No bank will lend a newly qualified accountant money. And I hope that that has changed. The defining moment early in my life was, how do I get clients? I've been away from Nigeria for 5 to 6 years, and obviously it's a long time, and I didn't come back home for once, so it was not easy making a start. My biggest challenge principally was how to acquire businesses that will pay my own maintenance. It's been my long ambition to create something in the field of accountancy, and I did not regret being the first Nigerian to establish the firm of chartered accountancy.
The communication sector in Nigeria has come a long way, and for any country that wants to continue on the advance, we can't but move along with the entire world on IT. And I do believe Nigeria has come a long way, and the thrust is quite high. A number of companies have the potentials for growth, and I do believe that in the many more years that we have, a lot will be achieved in this sector. Before I talk to the youths, I'd want to talk to us, because we must have to prepare the grounds for the youths. We need to create an enabling environment for the youths to thrive. We cannot just wish that they do well. It's not a matter of quick access to money, but they need proper grounding. And when you have proper grounding, money comes. It's not something you wish, and it's not something you pray and you get. You have to work hard. And if you work hard, they say to work is to pray. And I do hope that our younger ones will work hard, and we create an atmosphere where their hard work will benefit them. A situation where they work hard, go to secondary school, go to universities, and come out, there's no job. The blame is actually on us. So we have to think and see what we need to do to get things going right. Well, I can always give kudos to the private sector in Nigeria because it is hard. This company, for instance, we have had consistent power here for the last 600 hours, not a blink, because we carry traffic for the telephone operators. We are the hub, and we provide a lot of co-location for small players in the industry. We have a data center where people will house their servers, and we cannot afford 1 minute downtime in power supply. No. So we spend so much money to make sure we provide power 24/7, 52/12, because we cannot afford to go down 1 second. This means a lot of expenditure, a lot of running costs. If you have to have 5 layers of power supply on your own, and this is something that the society, the government, the environment should make available to everybody. But now you have to provide power in one substitute, another one, UPS, and it makes life so difficult and makes the industry very expensive. At the end of the day, the subscribers are the ones that bear the brunt, because all the money the telephone operators spend on their power, on their stations, burning generators, somebody has to pay for it. But if these things were based on public power supply, it will bring down the cost of doing business. And that's what everybody in the private sector is asking for, to bring down the cost of doing business in Nigeria. Our Interconnect Clearinghouse is the premier clearinghouse in Nigeria. And you can see there are a lot of awards. In fact, this is the BOICT award for 2019. It was the ICT Clearinghouse of the Year. And this company, when you hear people talking about porting, we are the only authority in Nigeria that port. We have the license for mobile number portability from the NCC. So anytime you port, it is done by this company, countrywide. No other company has that license.
It's not only the tax system that you need to review, you need to overhaul the entire accounting system, financial system, how the government operates. I mean, take for example, even the 4 arms of government, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and I would always like to include the press. Each and every one of them has serious issues: fraud, corruption, sheer incompetence, and above all, the total lack of commitment to building a strong, viral nation, you need to have people who are truly patriotic, who want the best for their country and are willing to make sacrifices. You see, each generation should sacrifice for the next one. But in our case, we're doing the other way around. We're piling huge debts on the next generation. And the way the system works, something like 90% of the revenue is used for recurrent expenditure, hardly anything for capital. And we are borrowing more and more and some of the funds we are borrowing go into projects which are
the government, through the decree number 10, 1969, formed the Architects Registration Council, which controlled not only the qualifications of architects, but also controlled people who are not Nigerians coming into Nigeria to practice architecture. Because to start with, all the architects that we knew in Nigeria, the preponderance of them, were all from outside Nigeria, and they had practices and everything. And it's only very few people who had the bravery and the gumption, Nigerians that is, to say, look, we too, we want to form, our own architectural practices. So you have people like Oluwole Olumuyiwa, who was also one of the past presidents. I think he was probably the first person, I'm not sure, to set up his own practice of architecture. And then there were some very highly successful architects like Lai Balogun, who did the First Bank building on the Marina, he did the Federal Palace Hotel, the extension, and many like that. Until hitherto, the foreign architects, in fact, one of them particularly said, oh, Nigerian architects, they don't have what it takes to design a building that's more than 10 stories high, which, of course, has been proven to be wrong because there are so many buildings around.
Adebayo Tower Post and Accounting Firm that was established almost a decade ago, and we are into all the area of accounting practice, tax, auditing, outsourcing, whatever you think an accountant can do, we do it. You understand me? But our core competence area, which we are trying to specialize on, is tax. You understand me? Tax relief, tax holiday, pioneer status. You understand me? So that is our core competence area. What I'm looking at the outlook of the economy in the months to come is we have done the election has come and gone. You understand me? We should be experiencing some level of stability. You understand me? It had told before this time, investors are scared. They don't know what the outcome of the election will be. But now, the election has been done and there seems to be relatively peace in every sector of the economy. You understand me? So what I'm looking at is Nigeria being an investment hub. We should be expecting inflow of investment from different quarters or from different countries. And federal government is doing a lot about this. You understand me? They have put a lot of enabling environment in place, enabling law that can invite, that can entice people to come and invest. So what I'm looking at is that in the months to come, because what happened in Nigeria happened to the whole Africa. So now that we have relative peace in the country, I mean customer satisfaction integrity. It's going to be matter. That's going to be the hallmark of what clients will be looking at. You understand me? From the auditor, from the accountants.
I'm not an expert. I've worked in the financial sector all my life. Whether that qualifies me as an expert, I don't know, but I've worked as an advisor all my life in the financial sector. Now, there has been significant improvements in many areas of our financial sector, which does not mean that we've not had problems in a few. But we have made significant progress in many areas, I guess, which is why our economy still stands up. Some people have been working very hard to keep the financial systems going and to make improvements in them by and large. So we are very much abreast with it, if not ahead in one or two areas. Very significant setback in the Nigerian economy.
Well, there isn't much difference between the various sectors, as we term them, in Nigerian society. If you talk of the arms of government, there is the legislature, there is the judiciary, and there is the executive. And outside that parameter, you have the citizenry. Well, corruption is endemic in our society. Unfortunately, we cannot run away from it. You asked me specifically about the legal sector. The legal sector is within the compass of the country, Nigeria. And there will be corruption here and there. There will be corruption in the executive sector. There is corruption in the legislature, national or states, National Assembly or states. There is corruption also in the legal sector, judicial sector, as you said. The issue, let me point out one. Corruption is everywhere in Nigeria, most unfortunately. We thought that there'd be less and less and less. But in the country today, take the political class. There's huge pool of corruption, deep cesspit of corruption in the system.
The unending allegations of judicial impropriety is a worrisome issue, and it's not only good. It's not good for our judiciary. It's not good for our nation as well. Especially when some of these allegations are made without recourse to the veracity of the facts. So for me, that is a big challenge that I think occurred this year, and I think we should try to do everything possible to ensure that we put it in check. I think we should separate the facts from the fiction. People should not take the position that lawyers that we have a duty to investigate where our clients get money to pay from. If I work for you, there is no requirement for me under the law to start to ask you where you got money for which you are paying my fees from. And I think all over the world, there's no such requirements on lawyers. Nigeria cannot be an exception. And from what you have heard, part of these monies were paid to some other senior lawyers who took part in certain transactions. So for me, we must be very careful. In an attempt to clean the audience tables, we should not destroy institutions. Nobody asks an accountant that he must ask from his client where he gets the fees from. Nobody asks a banker. Nobody asks an engineer or an architect. Why must lawyers be treated differently? That when you brief me to do a matter, then I must then start to ask you, this money you are paying, where is it from?
It's because I like the industry. Everyone has something that they select to be what they like. I like the beauty industry because I like to see people looking and feeling good about themselves and about other people. And I could see that many persons in Nigeria, especially women, wanted to look good. You go to various organizations, you go to some functions and you see people dressing up, trying to do their hair, trying to look presentable and acceptable. And I thought that if I'm going to go into an industry, it's something which I should try. I was one of those who helped to establish Johnson Products Nigeria Limited. We made beauty products, ultra sheen products in the United States. Came to Nigeria to establish a company called Johnson Products. And I worked with Johnson Products. I became the chairman of Johnson Products. We were selling ultra sheen and other beauty products. So I decided that I would start my own business and see what I could do with promoting the beauty industry.
The name is given to me by the public, not by my parents. It's given to me by the public. Really, I don't have that much difficulty in promoting the company. And for your information, for almost all my life, what I do is gaming business. Gaming business, pools, casino, lottery. At a point, there was a difficulty of, staff problem. So, I was operating from 26 branches: Lagos, Ijebu-Ode, Bekuta, Akure, Osogbo, Ibadan, Benin, Warri, Agbo, Enugu, Aba, Onitsha, Owerri, Port Harcourt, Calabar, Uyo, Ilorin, Kaduna, Jos, Kano, Sokoto, Maiduguri, Makurdi, Minna, Bauchi, Yola. I was operating from 26 branches. But it gets to a stage where staff become dishonest. So, I have to close down a lot of branches. And then call in my children, my male children, say, look, I've got a good business. Come, let us work together. I said, that's the only difficulty I had. But in the olden days, to be frank, staff don't steal. They were honest. But all of a sudden, this new generation we're talking about, they become robbers. So I have to trim down the branches to the size myself and my male children can accommodate. But now that we're computerized, there's no staff problem anymore. I stumbled into a book written by Melon, and it says, any business you do, I mean, when you're working for somebody, one day you have to leave, either retirement, either by sack or whatever. But it continues to say that in any business of your own, even when you leave it, you leave it to yourself. Which says, today if I pass on, I leave my business for my children. They should work hard. They should work hard right from the beginning. And the beginning of anything is not rosy. But they should work hard, lay a good foundation, be patient, tolerant. And I'm sure if they observe all this, they will get to the top. It can take some time, yes. But they just have to crawl before they walk.
Wow.